Your grandmother had a secret the government didn't want her to have. In the 1970s, seed companies started patenting their seeds. By the 1990s, saving and replanting them the old way had become a quiet legal minefield. But Grandma never cared. She dried her beans on the windowsill anyway, stored them in old envelopes, and had free seeds every single spring. No matter what the law said, that's just one of the 25 secrets we're digging up today. Some of these tricks were quietly discouraged. Some were flat out banned from commercial use. And every single one of them still works better than anything you'll find on a store shelf. This isn't some outdated folklore. This is real American backyard history. And it's the key to growing more, spending less, and finally taking your garden back from an industry that profits every time you forget how to do it yourself. Let's dive in. Before we talk about what to plant, let's talk about something the gardening industry would rather you didn't think too hard about. Your soil. Because here's the truth. Grandpa knew and most of us forgot dirt isn't dead. It's alive. And the moment you start treating it that way, everything else gets easier. Let's start with charcoal in pots. Deep in the Amazon, ancient civilizations created something called terra preta, fertile black soil that stayed rich for centuries. They did it by mixing charcoal into the ground. That same trick works in a flower pot today. Charcoal is riddled with tiny pores, and those pores become homes for beneficial microorganisms that keep roots healthy and disease-free. It also fights root rot and weighs far less than gravel. Today, companies sell this exact idea back to you under a fancy name. Biochar? At a fancy price. Grandpa just grabbed it from a clean wood stove. One critical warning. Though never use charcoal from a barbecue grill. It's loaded with chemicals and salt that will kill your plants outright. Only clean, untreated wood charcoal will do. Next, the no-dig method. Modern gardening experts act like they invented this. Grandma was already doing it decades ago. She never tilled her soil, because tilling destroys the underground network of fungi and earthworm tunnels that keep everything alive. Instead, she simply layered compost on top and let the earthworms pull the nutrients down themselves. Science now confirms what she always knew. Disturbing soil releases carbon and damages the microbial ecosystem. Less digging, healthier roots, stronger yields. Then there's something even simpler: wood chip paths. Old-timers would ask local tree trimmers for free wood chips to line their garden paths. After a year or two of weather and foot traffic, those chips quietly break down into rich, dark mulch, which you then shovel straight onto your beds. New chips go down, and the cycle starts again. One path, two jobs, zero cost. And finally, pine needles for weed control. A thick layer of fallen pine needles blocks sunlight completely, so weed seeds underneath simply can't sprout. No chemicals. No bending over for hours pulling weeds by hand. As they break down, they also add rich organic matter and a gentle acidity that strawberries and roses absolutely love. 4 tricks. One simple idea. Stop fighting your soil and start feeding it. Here's something that'll make you rethink everything you know about watering. The way most of us do it is actually working against the plant. Overhead watering keeps the surface damp, which sounds helpful. But it actually invites fungal disease and trains roots to stay lazy and shallow. Grandpa knew better. He watered from below, straight to where it mattered. Let's start with the olla. The word olla simply means pot in Spanish. And this technique has survived for over 4,000 years across countless civilizations. Take an unglazed terracotta pot. Bury it in the ground next to your plants. Fill it with water and walk away. The porous clay walls release moisture only when the surrounding soil actually needs it. A kind of self-regulating system with zero electronics, zero moving parts. Researchers at the University of New Mexico confirmed this method cuts water use by 50 to 70% compared to surface watering. One critical detail: the pot has to be completely unglazed. A shiny glaze blocks the very pores that make this whole system work. Next, deep root watering with a buried system. Bury a plastic pot or a bottle with holes poked in the sides right next to your plant's base. Holes facing the roots. Water poured in travels straight down to where the roots live, forcing them to grow deep and strong instead of clinging weakly to the surface. This single trick can save up to 70% of your daily irrigation water, and it starves out the fungal diseases that thrive in damp topsoil. Then there's gardening by the rain. Long before weather apps, our grandparents simply watched the sky, and contrary to what you've probably been told, they often sowed seeds during a steady rain. Even a storm. Natural rainwater carries a near-perfect pH, plus a touch of nitrogen pulled down by lightning. Nutrients you simply can't buy in a bottle? Just keep an eye on the forecast, since a true downpour can wash unprotected seeds clean away. And finally, the board germination trick. After sowing and watering, lay a simple board or piece of cardboard over the soil. It sounds like it would smother the seeds, but it actually locks moisture in, protects them from birds and hungry insects, and means you're not watering 5 times a day just to keep the surface from drying out. Just remember to lift it the moment you spot that first green sprout pushing through. 4 tricks. 1 quiet truth: water deep, water smart, and let nature do the rest. Remember that secret from the very beginning. The one about seed patents and a legal minefield. This is where we come back to it. Because everything in this chapter is about one simple act of rebellion: keeping the power to grow something for free, season after season. No matter what anyone tries to sell you. Let's start with seed saving itself. Your grandmother would let 1 or 2 pole bean plants go to seed at the end of summer. Dry the pods right on the kitchen windowsill, and store the seeds in old envelopes labeled in pencil. Come spring, she had free beans from plants already perfectly adapted to her exact soil and climate. Modern seed companies changed the game by selling F1 hybrid seeds, the varieties that won't grow true the second time around, quietly forcing you to buy new seeds every single year. That's not an accident. That's a business model. Today, heritage seed libraries are fighting to keep old open-pollinated varieties alive, because those are the only ones you can actually save seed from yourself. Next, the multi-sowing technique. Forget the instructions telling you to plant 1 seed per cell. Nature never grows that way. And neither did our grandparents. Drop 3 to 5 seeds into the same cell, and as they grow, their roots naturally push the stems apart instead of fighting each other. This works beautifully for root vegetables like beets, radishes, and onions, letting you grow far more in far less space. Just don't try this with big fruiting plants like tomatoes or pumpkins. They need their room. Then, egg cartons as seed starters. Those paper cartons Grandma never threw away became perfect little seed trays. Fill each cell with compost. Sow your seed, and when it's ready, tear off that single cell and plant it directly into the ground. Cardboard and all. No root shock, no plastic waste. Just compost feeding the soil as it breaks down naturally. And finally, slanted side cups for starting seeds. A cup with straight walls traps the root ball and risks tearing it on the way out. A cup with gently sloped sides lets the entire root mass slide free in one piece with a simple squeeze. No prying, no damage, no setback. 4 tricks. 1 mission: never let anyone make you pay twice for the same plant. Here's something that'll surprise you. Almost everything your plants need to fight off disease, grow stronger roots, and bounce back from stress was probably sitting in your kitchen cabinet the whole time. No greenhouse-grade chemicals required. Just 5 ordinary ingredients. Used the right way. Let's start with honey and cinnamon for rooting. On quiet, sunny afternoons, Grandma would snip a rose stem or a jasmine branch, dip the cut end into a simple mix of honey and cinnamon powder, and push it straight into the nursery soil. Honey brings natural sugars and enzymes that fuel root growth from the inside out. Cinnamon acts as a powerful natural antibiotic, fighting off the fungal rot that kills most cuttings before they even get started. Some worry honey attracts ants, but compared to harsh chemical rooting hormones, this is the gentler, safer trade. Next, aloe vera for rooting. A fresh aloe leaf contains natural plant hormones that trigger fast root cell division. Dip a cutting straight into the gel, and you're getting the same boost as a bottle of commercial rooting hormone for free. It also strengthens the young plant's immune system right from the start, protecting it from infection while it's at its most vulnerable. Just don't overdo it. Too much left exposed on the soil can attract ants and fungus, so use it with a light hand. Then, aspirin for plant immunity. Aspirin contains salicylic acid, the exact same hormone plants naturally produce when they're under attack to switch on their own defenses. Dissolve 1 tablet in water. Spray it across the leaves, and you're essentially handing the plant a head start on fighting disease before it even shows up. Research has confirmed that compounds like this can activate genuine defense mechanisms against fungi and bacteria, with plants growing up to 20% faster and falling sick far less often. Just remember, this supports good care. It doesn't replace it. Next, Epsom salt for tomatoes. When tomato leaves start yellowing between the veins, that's magnesium deficiency talking and tomatoes burn through magnesium faster than almost any other vegetable. Grandma's fix was always sitting in the bathroom cabinet. Dissolve 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt in about a gallon of water. Water the plant every 2 weeks. And watch pale, struggling leaves turn lush and green again. For pennies compared to specialty tomato feed. And finally, turmeric powder for root protection. The active ingredient in turmeric, curcumin, is a genuinely powerful natural antibacterial and antifungal. Sprinkle it around pruning wounds to seal off infection. Mix it into potting soil to fight root rot at the source, or dust it around the base of the plant to help keep ants and the aphids they protect away. 5 tricks. 1 simple truth: real plant medicine was never locked behind a label. It was already in your kitchen. This next chapter is where our grandparents' genius really shines through. Because every single trick here takes something you'd normally throw away and turns it into something your garden desperately needs. No purchase required. Let's start with vinegar as a weed killer. The acetic acid in ordinary kitchen vinegar dehydrates and burns weed leaves within hours of contact. It's so effective that the USDA's Agricultural Research Service confirmed high concentrations of it can genuinely replace industrial herbicides on organic farms. Mix 1 part vinegar to 2 parts water and apply it on hot, sunny days so the sun speeds up the drying process. Just 1 important warning: only use this on concrete walkways and hard surfaces, never near your crops, since it can't tell the difference between a weed and a tomato plant. Next, comfrey liquid fertilizer. Comfrey roots dig deep into the earth, pulling up minerals other plants simply can't reach. Soak the leaves in water, and they break down into a thick, dark liquid that smells rough, but delivers serious potassium. Exactly what tomatoes, peppers, and pumpkins need to grow bigger. Firmer fruit with bolder flavor? Dilute it 20-to-1 with clean water, and you've got an on-site fertilizer factory that never runs out. Then, weed tea. Instead of tossing pulled weeds in the trash, Grandma soaked them in a barrel of water, letting their nutrients dissolve into a dark, nitrogen-rich liquid. Researchers at Coventry University confirmed this fertilizer delivers nitrogen levels right on par with commercial brands. Dilute it 1 to 10. Water your leafy greens, and watch what used to be garden waste do real work. Next, mulching with old newspapers. Layer wet newspaper 4 to 5 sheets thick between your rows. Top it with a little grass clipping so it doesn't blow away. And you've blocked weeds from sunlight while locking in moisture. By the end of the season, it breaks down completely and feeds your soil. Unlike the plastic landscape fabric that replaced it and now sits in landfills forever. Then, coffee grounds for soil improvement. Used coffee grounds gradually lower soil pH, which acid-loving plants like blueberries, azaleas, and roses thrive on. Their gritty texture also helps keep slugs away. Research from the University of Melbourne confirmed they genuinely improve soil structure and water retention when composted properly. And finally, urine as fertilizer. This one sounds shocking, but fresh urine carries nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in a form plants absorb almost instantly, diluted properly at 1 part urine to 10 parts water, and applied directly to the soil, never the leaves. It's one of the most genuinely free fertilizers that ever existed. Apply it early morning or late evening to limit odor and nitrogen loss. 6 tricks. 1 mindset: nothing in this garden is really waste. Until you decide it is. Everything so far has been a technique. Something you can go try in your backyard this weekend. But these last 2 stories are different. They're not just tricks. They're proof of just how far human ingenuity will go when nobody's there to tell you no. Let's start with the Forestiere Underground Gardens. In the scorching heat of Fresno, California, an Italian immigrant named Baldassare Forestiere spent 40 years from 1906 to 1946, digging an entire underground world by hand. Sunken courtyards, skylights, tunnels, all built so he could grow fruit trees, shielded from brutal summer heat and harsh winter frost. He discovered something the rest of us are only catching up to now. That going underground creates a self-sustaining ecosystem insulated from the extremes above. Try something like this today, and you'd run straight into zoning boards, geological surveys, and water management agencies. With the power to fine you for affecting groundwater flow, what Forestiere built wasn't just a garden, it was proof of what one determined person can do without a permit, a committee, or anyone's permission. And then there's the Wartime Pig Club. During the hardest years of the war, neighbors banded together and raised a single pig right in the backyard, feeding it nothing but kitchen scraps and vegetable waste. By 1943, nearly 7,000 of these clubs were registered across England. One of the most effective small-scale food systems ever built. That pig was a living recycling machine, turning garbage into rich fertilizer for the whole community's gardens. Today, strict livestock permits and health codes make this almost impossible to recreate. We traded that closed, self-sufficient loop for trash cans and landfills, but the principle behind it, turning what you'd throw away into food and fertility, that's a lesson worth holding on to. Permit or not, 2 stories. 1 reminder, real self-sufficiency was never about breaking rules for the sake of it. It was about refusing to be helpless, long before anyone told them they needed permission. 25 tricks, but really, just one truth running through every single one of them: your grandparents were never poor in knowledge. They were rich in it. Rich in patience, in resourcefulness, in a kind of quiet defiance that didn't need a permit, a patent, or a price tag to grow something beautiful out of nothing. Somewhere along the way, we let ourselves believe that gardening had to come in a bag, a bottle, or a subscription box. That self-sufficiency was old-fashioned, inconvenient, even illegal. It never was. It just stopped being profitable for someone else. Every time you save a seed instead of buying one, every time you bury an olla instead of installing a sprinkler system, every time you reach for vinegar, or aspirin, or a handful of coffee grounds instead of something shrink-wrapped on a shelf. You're not just saving money. You're keeping something alive that was almost taken from all of us. A backyard that answers to no one but you? So here's what I'm asking. If even one of these tricks made you think of your own grandmother's garden, your grandfather's hands in the dirt, hit that like button right now. And subscribe, so the next 25 secrets find their way to you. 2. And down in the comments, tell me, what's the one trick your family passed down that you still use today? Because traditions like these don't survive in a history book. They survive in backyards like yours. Keep growing. We'll see you in the next one.